2011. And this is the Arts, Parks, Health, and Aging Committee. I'm joined by Councilmember Reyes. Item number 1, we're going to hold for the arrival. Item number 2, we're going to hold for a few more minutes. Item number 3, let's hear from Cultural Affairs right now on item number 3. Anyone here from Cultural Affairs?
Do you wish me to announce the item?
Yes.
Item 3, the Department of Cultural Affairs has submitted a report relative to accepting a grant for $20,000 from the National Endowment for the Arts for the Big Read program for the period of September 1, 2011 through June 30th, 2012.
Good morning. As you're aware, the Department of Cultural Affairs repeatedly requests an annual grant, applies for a grant and receives an annual grant for the National Endowment for the Arts' Big Read program. It's a program designed to promote literacy. We've been very fortunate that we've been successful with this particular grant program. Pursuant to the council's or to city ordinances, we're now coming for authority to formally accept the grant donation. It's going to involve...
You're going to coordinate with the library department?
We've got the library involved. We actually are also working with several high schools. We're working with Lincoln High School, Roosevelt High School. On occasion, we work with Santee High School. So the library has been intimately involved with us within the past couple of years, and each year we evolve the program with the library, with the reading groups. So this is a very exciting program for both of our departments.
Okay, well, any questions, Mr. Reyes?
Just one, how were the sites selected? I mean, where are they located?
Well, the sites are selected depending on the book and depending on the interest. For instance, when we first started the program, we did some outreach to some of the mayor's partnership schools because there was a big focus to try and create some literacy and promote literacy in those particular schools that are underserved. So Roosevelt High School was initially part of it. Then Santee joined us. Santee was very excited, and they've been, a regular supporter. Next year, we'll be branching out into the South LA schools. It really depends on the focus, the outreach, and then also the interest of the public school system as well, and the libraries as well.
So it's 2 schools at this time?
We try and get at least 2 or 3 minimum, and then depending on the availability of the funds, then we'll reach out.
Good job, thank you.
Okay.
This is item number 3 on the big read.
Sorry.
So you could take a breath. Also, look to see if you could get one of the schools working with Mr. Alarcon or Mr. Cardenas in the Valley that may have a benefit from this. I don't know what school that would be, but please reach to a school in the Valley as well as something in South Los Angeles if you think you could reach there, where there's a real challenge.
I think that there's plenty of time where we could do that, and we'll certainly reach out, and we'll talk to the respective council offices to see if they have any recommendations for any schools or any programs there.
Super. All righty. And that's just for the interest here. We're going to hold just for a few more minutes. Item number 7.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, you say you're holding it?
No, approve.
You're approving it?
Approve
Okay.
number 3.
You're approving it. Okay, thank you. You want to go to item 7 now?
7 now. We're trying
Okay.
to get some things done, as you know. 7, please.
The Board of Recreation and Park Commissioners have submitted a report relative to the proposed first and second amendments to the operating agreement between the State of California and the Department of Recreation and Parks. This is for the use of Science Center-owned property known as the playfields. There is a time limit on this of April 15, 2011.
Great.
Sid Makarag, Rec Parks or Real Estate. What we have before you is an amendment to our current agreement with the State of California for the use of Exposition Park. What the amendment does is it clarifies the date of our submission of the annual maintenance fee. It also clarifies that the city will not charge in excess of fees that we normally charge in other Rec and Parks facilities to users of the Expo playing fields. Also that we promise to allow community groups to use the facilities 2 days a month for free. It also makes sure that the Science Center will be allowed to use the playing fields for other special functions other than parking, of course, with cooperation and consultation with us.
And you've reviewed this with the councilman of the 8th District?
Yes.
Supportive, Mr. Reyes?
Yes.
Okay, move forward on item number 8. There's no cards on, item number 7. Next item, item number 8.
Excuse me, members, I just wanted to make sure, is this item going to be forwarded to council tomorrow? This is an expedited item.
Yes.
Thank you.
For item 8, the city attorney has submitted a report and ordinance. This is in response to motion Parks and Perry relative to amending the Los Angeles Municipal Code to prohibit conducting any trade, occupation, business, or profession within a city park without a concession contract or a permit issued by the city. And I do have a couple speakers on this item.
Okay. You have those cards right there? Call for the public comment. Phyllis Doherty and Christopher Francisca. Sure. Hi, Phyllis.
Good morning, Honorable Councilman Phyllis Doherty. I live in Echo Park, and the sellers in Echo Park was a tremendous problem for a long time. We couldn't even get into the park. It badly, badly hurt the businesses around there. I'm on the neighborhood council, and it actually began to look just like 6th Street. Mr. Reyes will understand exactly what I'm saying, because you couldn't even walk in the park. It got so filled, and we have a lot of unlicensed vendors in Echo Park. And we're very, very acceptant of them, and they're patronized. But when there are so many of them like this, and when they are interfering with the businesses in the surrounding area, the food vendors filled the park also, and our restaurants really, really suffered. We're really harming the small businesses that are struggling so much to stay in business with all the high costs of the city by allowing them to have this type of competition with no regulation. So anything you can do to keep this down, we'll appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Christopher,
Good morning.
introduce your special assistant there.
This is my assistant. This is my son, Cassius Franciosa here.
Okay.
He is actually my assistant. I'm a dog walker. And it's, I know we were in the main city council meeting a few months ago, and we filled the entire chamber. But today, we got this notice very late, and so we tried to cobble together some people to come. I just wanted to make sure you're aware that at least my reading of this proposed ordinance would be to prohibit dog walking in dog parks. And that is something that I would like to protest and to tell you that there'd be a really big problem with that. We provide such a service to so many members of the community, so many members of the city, and there's literally scores, if not hundreds of us that provide this service, and we would be prohibited from doing this in the parks. And this is my completely transparent way of showing you that I don't want to be kicked out of my house. we had, it's an amazing, people from other parts of the country say, how do you make a living being a dog walker? But there are many of us that do. And we provide this great service, and I was able to buy a house, I was able to put my kids through school so far, and it's something that I just wanted to bring to your notice that this would be a real problem with us.
Because you as a dog walker would be prohibited from walking.
That's how I read this, that we would be prohibited from performing our service. And as we talked about in the last council meeting, there's been no problems. There's been no lawsuits with us. We're very respected members of the community. We take care of the parks. We provide some of the scoopers. So we just wanted to let you know that.
Very good. Thank you.
Say thanks.
Oh,
He's too shy.
all right.
Okay.
Good job. Make sure you take him to the top of City Hall, show him the view before he leaves today. Can either department come forward? No other public comment? Did you fill out a card? Yeah. This is item 8. You filled it out on 8? But I think this is number 9 on the dog walkers, but item 8. Would the staff like to approach the table? We're talking number 8. 8.
Sorry, we were a little confused on if we were on number 8 or 9.
Okay, hi.
Supposed to be on it.
Hi. Councilman, I'm just here from the Kevin Regan Department of Recreation and Parks. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have on items.
What is this proposed? What does this matter?
Okay, so
8.
Item number 8 is as it's in the agenda, City Attorney Report on the ordinance in response to the Parks Perry motion, which amends the municipal code to Really, what this is this is the rewriting and reenactment of Municipal Code 6344B. And what that does is and probably you better get a better explanation from the city attorney, but what this is going to do is is going to allow enforcement of people who come into the park. As we heard from the one speaker, and they talked about Echo Park, where people literally show up on the corner and becomes a swap meet.
Yeah.
And when 6344B was suspended, the police did not have enforcement ability. So what this does is that this article basically says that individuals cannot conduct a business for profit within the park without obtaining a permit. Sellers, they can't sell items without obtaining a permit. There are some exemptions, and if you had questions, city attorney may be able to answer, but particularly at the Venice Beach Boardwalk, we have the issue of the individuals who are conducting free speech activities, and if those items are...
But if I may interrupt.
Sure.
On the, I just want to make sure for the record we understand what's in front of us. In Echo Park, as an example, it's not just the corner. They literally are setting up shop, you know how on the embankment of the park, all the way from one end, all the way to the next, they fill up the whole greenway, sidewalk, and they go into the park, up to the lake. They take up a whole section of the park along the lake. So I've walked through it several times, and it seems to me people from other county areas are coming in and setting up their wares. And there's people there who behave as, I say this, they're the leaders in charge. And I see vans of products coming in, unloading and leaving, much like in 6th Street. And so there is that dynamic that I think really, what I want to know is, does this ordinance allow us, will this allow us to enforce to some degree?
To my understanding, it will, but you may want to ask the city attorney exactly what enforcement ability this will give the police. However, I've read all of the documentation, and the redrafting of this ordinance not only meets some of the constitutional requirements that we needed at Venice Beach, but it does, once again, give the Office of Public Safety, the
Right.
Rangers, and the police the ability to cite.
Mr. Regan, I know this takes us to another level of, and at a time when we don't have enough staff, but this is District 13 as well, as District 1 is right on the other side of the freeway. But what we're doing in 6th Street is we're beginning to organize the vendors so that they can create a public safety element for themselves.
Right.
We've had some tragedies there that was gang-related. My question to you, and I'd like to pose this, is have we ever had the experience of organizing the vendors so that they do not interrupt or take away from the park, but we allow some level of activity that does not become punitive to the local restaurants? Have we ever tried going there?
Well, we have had some history with that, and I think one of the examples of a situation that we worked on several years ago was at MacArthur Park with the
Right.
tamale vendors. So, and again, there's been a number of incidents in which the Parks Department, through its authority from the Commission and the General Manager, has the ability to issue permits for activities. So it doesn't mean that activities can't take place where there may be sales, and particularly these sales occur very often at special events. So it's not to say they can't happen. What we're looking at is that the parks are meant to be open for the public, as Tom has said many, many times, and we need to ensure that the public has the access and can use them without them turning into some type of a flea market. And I think that
Exactly.
this ordinance will give us that ability once again.
That's the city attorney, what we can do with this?
Yeah, on the city attorney, one quick question, just to ask this clarification. This is a park. Right now on the park, you may have a concession stand, which is an authorized
Correct.
seller of some goods. But if someone comes through right now with an ice cream cart, pushes it, do you have any way to legally enforce that now?
To my understanding, with the
No, your practicality, Kevin, not your understanding.
No.
You have no way to understand it, so,
Today, no.
okay. that's because of court interpretations of city law?
To my understanding, yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're the
Yes.
number one man in the number two position in the department. This is a very important issue, Mr. Reyes. I think we should ask questions and absolutely continue this, because I want to get the full impact, especially from park advisory boards, and maybe have a sole meeting on this issue. Does this affect Venice Beach?
Well, if you read the actual redrafting of the ordinance, it makes provisions for the inextricably intertwined at Venice Beach.
Okay, so this is
But
something
this is
that
a tool,
I know.
I think maybe you misunderstood what I said. I just want to be clear. This is a tool that's going to actually help us to be able to deal with the ice cream carts and the other things.
No,
Okay, I'm sorry,
I understand
Councilman.
that, but I'm
Make
just
sure you-
saying, I don't want to just put this in without great concern. Let me ask a question. On the dog walker issue, if someone walks dogs professionally and they walk through a park, do you want to charge them?
Well, I think that we could speak to that on item number 9, but
No, you
the
can
fact...
speak to it now.
Well, the fact of the matter is, yes, if the dog walkers are going to be conducting a business on city property, a business on a
Okay,
park,
all right.
then they need to have a
If I'm a yoga
permit.
instructor and I get 10 people to do yoga, if I'm a track coach and I run people through, where does it stop, though? I think there has to be a divide and a deep question by council on this issue. What is your commission's position on this?
The commission position is that the commission has a variety of rates and fees for activities in parks. And some of those activities, for example, boot camps. Boot camps is a private business that's conducted in a park under commission rates and fees. The commission has a no-fee waiver policy, which means that if individuals are coming to the park to conduct those types of activities, it's not to say that they cannot do it, but they must secure a permit or they must enter into a concessions agreement with the
Have you discussed
department.
this with park advisory groups, the park advisory groups citywide, that the department tries to reach out and get?
Well, I would, in all honesty, I would say yes, we have. And
In the last 60 days?
I can't say that
Are you
we've...
coming to where we're going to try to change the law? I just think we need to have some time to really do this, especially on the Venice Beach issue, because council is very concerned of that. I don't know all the issues there. Madam City Attorney, you want to answer Mr. Reyes's question?
The question was, given the changes being proposed today, what can we or what can't we do? What's different than before? We have enabling language here, more enforcement? What is that we're doing?
Well, the intent of the ordinance is to address the concerns that have arisen as a result of the court's decision. We're trying to create some kind of mechanism to have some enforcement in these areas in light of the court's decision, which has temporarily suspended our existing provisions.
So the decision has suspended, now we can reinforce? Now we can
Well, now we're trying to create a mechanism by which we can enforce. The
Okay.
existing provisions in our code were suspended as being deemed in violation of the law. So now we're trying to, in response to the court's decision, we're trying to create some new mechanism by which we can have some enforcement.
So we're really dealing with this issue on two different levels from my point of view. One is the legal level, what the city can do. Then there's the enforcement level that reflects what the legalities allows us.
Right.
So right now we're dealing with two different issues.
Well, they're part and parcel of the same thing. I mean, you want to have some kind of provision that has some teeth in it, that has some enforcement mechanism, and that's what we're trying to develop now.
Okay, thank you.
I have an issue on the people who run through the parks. I have the issue with people who walk dogs with the parks and maybe I don't know what a dog walker makes, but I know they help people with their dogs. If there is something that says if I'm a friend of the parks, and there's a modest, not every daily fee, and what would, let's say a dog walker be charged? Just what would you anticipate a fee or a rate for that?
Well, I'm not prepared to speak to that. I think Melinda and Mike have some information on what we're proposing
Sure.
for that.
Yeah.
But that's item number 9 if you want us to talk about that.
No, well, I think it's the same if it's this deal in this here. Yes.
Chairman, for the record, you need to announce the items so that we have it.
Add item 9 to this discussion, please. Thank you, Madam City Attorney.
For item 9, the Department of Recreation and Parks has submitted a report. This is in response to motion Rosenthal Corretz relative to the enforcement of the off-leash dog park rules and regulations.
Good morning, Mike Shaw with Recreation and Parks. I'm joined by Melinda Geyer, my staff. I'm going to ask Melinda to go through the details of the report, just to outline some of the highlights of what we're proposing.
Our goal here was to recognize the fact that people who walk dogs as a profession probably have better dog handling skills than your average person. So we wanted to try to have a mechanism by which your regular dog park enjoyer would still be limited to 3 dogs, because based on the literature, the research that we did, that seems to be a reasonable number for someone to maintain good control over their animals. However, a professional probably has more skills. We tried to develop a structure by which professional dog walkers would be able to use the parks, but that structure would require a fee of some kind. We don't have the number yet because we don't have, the part of the recommendation in this report is that we have to go back and, do some real serious outreach and analysis. But we're responding to a motion which suspended our ability to enforce the existing rules. So now we need to go and bring all the parties to the table.
What motion suspended this? A court case or a motion?
It was a motion.
City Council.
Which motion? Just to correct for everybody. The one in September?
October.
Okay. Which one? October 13th by Parks Perry?
I have, there was a verbal motion and a written motion. It was October 2nd, 2009, and there was basically a request for additional information. I think this had been an ongoing discussion for some time, but the motion that was passed in October suspended our ability to enforce the existing rule, which limits the number of dogs per person to 3.
Right. In this report, which is a public document, it speaks October 13, 2010, Council approved the motion Perry Parks Perry to advise that individuals operating a dog obedient training business, including attack dog training at Norman O. Houston Park in the 8th Council District, without a permit, and such activities due to residents using the park. The motion moved that the council reinstate the portion of the municipal code to prohibit the practice of conducting any trade, occupation, business, profession except by contract with the Department of Recreation and Parks, or be authorized representatives to request the city attorney prepare a motion to reinstate the portion of LAMC to prohibit certain businesses in parks. As a request, the city attorney drafted one ordinance. Do we know if that ordinance has been circulated to your park advisory groups?
Okay, just to be clear, Councilman, that's item number 8 that you're just...
We're talking 8 and 9. We do two things at once.
Good enough.
Okay.
I just wanted to be clear.
Is that a problem?
I cannot...
We just called item number 9.
Well, we're calling them together. I was mixing them together because they're both park interest. So let's do this, Kevin. Let's do this. Is our appointee for the Park Commission here? Yet? The appointee for the appointee number 1?
No.
They're not here?
Councilman, I understand what you're doing.
The city attorney's uncomfortable with this. Let's do this.
Bad record.
Hold on. Hold the meeting right here. Is this item number 1 just came through the door? No? Okay. So just take a break right here for a second there. Madam Clerk, because I know you're not our regular clerk, which I appreciate you pitch hitting here. This is our regular city attorney, and I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. So we're going to go back right now and go back to item number 1. Sit back, and we'll wait, and we're going to go through the agenda as organized. I was trying to help.
Mr. Chair,
with this.
just to make it clear for the record, and also for people who are listening to the proceedings who are not here, are you going to continue item 8 and 9?
No, I'm going to start all over again, make it real simple. I was trying to accommodate schedules. There's a community schedule that both my colleagues had to do. I'm trying to do that. I'm going back to item number 1 and start all over. Good morning, everybody.
Okay, so basically you're bringing people back,
Exactly.
you're bringing 8 and 9 back at a later time today?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I got it. So item number 1.
For item 1, you have a communication from the mayor and a city ethics review that came in quite late after the agenda was released. This is in regard to the appointment of Ms. John Whitstone to the Commission on the Status of Women.
Who has not arrived as of yet.
She's walking in right now.
Uh-huh.
She's on her way literally up the stairs.
Okay, well, the stairs take longer than the elevator, so we'll have her relax when she gets in. We'll start with item number 2. Thank you, so she could catch her breath. Item number 2.
Okay, and item 2, the Chief Legislative Analyst and the Department of Cultural Affairs has submitted reports. This is a request for proposals to transition cultural art facilities to public-private partnerships. This item has also been referred to Budget and Finance Committee.
Thank you. Madam CAO, please give us an update.
Terry Sauer with the CAO's office. Mr. Chairman, I believe our report was released Friday afternoon. It may have been released after the committee packets were sent out. We did send your office a copy, and if you haven't had a chance to review, I apologize. In terms of, as you know, we've been working with the Department of Cultural Affairs to address the RFP issue for cultural facilities. That process, there's still a number of outstanding issues. However, the most important issue was finding funding to keep the facilities operating through the balance of the fiscal year. As you know, we had already identified an additional $240,000, which was a combination of unexpended cultural affairs funds and community development block grant funds to partially fund the facilities. We have identified an additional $130,000 in prior year capital improvement expenditure plan monies, which are allocated for cultural affairs projects. Those monies will be transferred in the financial status report. The outstanding requirement for the to maintain the cultural facilities through the end of the fiscal year is $26,000. We believe that we can identify those funds within the department and are working with the department to identify those monies. As it relates to the RFP, we are working to revise the RFP. We believe that using the model in place for the Nate Holden Cultural Center may be more appropriate than previously discussed models. With the Nate Holden Cultural Center, in lieu of rent, the contractor pays the Ebony Repertory Company pays $1 a year, and their rent is in the form of services provided to the community and spelled out in the lease. Additionally, they're responsible for custodial utilities and landscaping. Maintenance was subject to negotiation, and what we propose is, we've been reviewing the maintenance issues. We would recommend that as part of the RFP process, there will be a walkthrough of the facility. We will identify any fire life safety issues. Those will be responsibility of those will be subject to the negotiations. GSD currently provides maintenance at the 14 facilities. They spend around $15,000 a year on all of the facilities. So the level of maintenance and the responsibility will be something that will be ultimately addressed in the lease agreement. Cultural Affairs had proposed the providing of a stipend. We would propose also that a stipend be provided to the individual operators. The amount of that stipend will be subject to availability of funds. At the moment, Cultural Affairs had recommended $14,000. That would be what we're still looking at, although that amount could change. In reference to the facilities located on parkland, there were a number of issues. One, certain facilities had been transferred as a result of to Department of Cultural Affairs as the result of the creation of the department. There are 2 other facilities that are located on parkland that were not included in the original ordinance creating the department, nor are they currently included in the operating agreement between Cultural Affairs and Recreation and Parks. The city attorney has advised that we will need to amend the operating agreement for those 2 facilities, which would be Herman Park and the Lincoln Heights Junior Arts Center. We are working with the real estate section of the Department of Recreation and Parks, and we'll go back to their board. We will take the RFPs back to their board. On the facilities that are already covered by the operating ordinance, we will present our plans to the board so that they are aware of the direction in which the city is going. We hope to have that wrapped up relatively soon. We did attach a timeline and next steps, and we hope to, as we move forward, have the RFP concluded and released hopefully in April or May. We don't know how long it's going to take or what's needed to amend the operating agreements with Recreation and Parks, but we hope to move forward and have everything in place by January of next year for the facilities which are currently partnered and which we need to do an RFP because their contracts have expired and we need to move forward. We want to resolve
Okay,
those.
so give us a little 30-second tomorrow through July 1st. What do you see the existing facilities happening there?
That they will continue to operate. We've identified the 130,000, and we will work with Cultural Affairs. We believe we can identify the additional 26,000 that they'll require.
All right, now, and then the RFP process?
Is moving forward. We have had some discussions with the city attorney. We believe we have a methodology for addressing the maintenance issues and the responsibility for fire life safety issues. We also have clarified the relationship between Recreation and Parks and the facilities on parkland, and we're working with Recreation and Parks to address that and to amend the operating agreements, and we will be going back to the
And
board.
do we have the budgets for what it takes to operate at Barnsdall?
We believe the Claudia Aguilar from our office has been working with the department. They had do we have figures for the balance
You
of
do
this
have
year?
budgets?
Yes.
We're close. We
Well, how close are you?
I would say that we could finalize them before the end of this week.
How about the end of today? We've been asking for it for a long time.
Mr. Labange, this is Claudia Aguilar with the CAO's
Hi,
office.
Claudia.
Hi. We have the numbers that the department gave us for what would be considered full operations at the facilities right now. They're operating on a much leaner budget, so those numbers, we're trying to balance what we think should be the actual amount of staff at these facilities. Currently, what we have now, I think it's about 800,000 between, if I'm not mistaken, between what's there currently at the Barnsdall.
Let me ask you,
facility.
Claudia, as a city administrative officer representative,
Yes.
when could I have a full package from you?
We'll have it for you tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
Mr. Labange, can I just add?
For the record, identify yourself.
I'm sorry, Olga Garay with the Department of Cultural Affairs. Leslie Thomas, who is our staff supervisor at Barnsdall, has given us new budget figures based on what is currently happening at the art park. So we will turn these over to the CAO today. I got them late on Friday. And so these are revised numbers based on what is actually taking place right now in terms of staffing and programs.
At the city's cost.
The city's cost divided by what it costs the Department of Cultural Affairs, as well as what we think it costs the city for things like utilities and maintenance, et cetera. We would rather vet these numbers through the CAO's office. And
Very
so-
well, thank you very much. So we should have this, I'll give you 2 days, Claudia, because that still gives us time to work on it this week. It's a short week. But if this could be done, and then what do we say to those who are non-city facilities, such as the Warner Grand, such as the Lankershim Arts Center, such as Madrid, et cetera, et cetera?
That the Warner Grand and Madrid Theater currently operated by the city, that we expect to have the RFP done and out in the next couple of months, and we will, moving forward.
Let's say today's the end of March, or the end of February, so that's, because I have been somewhat, as you move wind, it's sometimes tough to move wind because you don't see it. And now all of a sudden, after all these months, and everybody's trying to hold it up, I want to call for dates, because people drive from long ways away, and they want to come and see answers at City Hall so they could be assured to the constituencies what they can provide. So let's just say March 1st, April 1st, by May 1st, we'll have an RFP. That's 60 days?
Yeah, we hope to, because again, we've been working with the city attorney. We believe we have a way to address the maintenance issues. A part of the RFP will be an inspection and identification of any fire life safety issues. I should add...
Structural issues, fire life safety?
I should add, and just to clarify, the Department of General Services has been providing limited maintenance on a regular basis at the facilities in question. The city is in the process, as it relates to the Warner Grand, of installing a new roof. So the city does take care of these facilities. We've visited them in some cases. So there may be some things that are considered cosmetics or nice to have that we wouldn't address, but in terms of structural and ongoing maintenance, we will take those into consideration. I should also add that as part of this, just to ensure that they're we take care of the facilities or in any delay, we are looking at identifying funding, both for Barnstall and William Grant Still, and then on an ongoing basis for next fiscal year,
Okay.
so that there won't be any interruption of service.
Would you be so kind as to do a one-sheet memo to me explaining everything than what we transmit in the next 60 days approximately? So we could share that with all the public who's interested in this?
Sir, I believe as I said, our office released a memo on Friday. I don't know that it
Okay.
made it into the committee packet, and that's what I would suggest that you send out.
Which would be this right here?
Yes,
This right here?
yes.
Okay. But I'd like your nice words of today on there, just so to add to it. And today we made it.
I would be happy to.
Thank you so much. You can do it in longhand, too. You don't have to type it. All right.
I would
we have
be
some
happy to put
comments.
something together for
Thank
you and
you.
your staff.
Liz Johnson, Fred Allen, Grand Vision, Grand Vision. Thank you.
That was very enlightening. Liz Johnson, Grand Vision Foundation, San Pedro, California. Don't have any long speeches prepared, should be happy to know, but I do want to say that that is the first time we heard about the new roof getting repaired, and we're really excited and we want to get on board. Actually, that roof is desperately needed. I would like to get more details on the, that plan. We are really glad to hear that we would like to know if we can say that there will be an RFP out on May 1st, because we need to make decisions, prepare, spend money in order to do our best with our RFP. We believe that it is the, first step in truly explaining our business plan. And that is a very important component of, and indicator of our success as operators. And so really all we want to know is the same thing everybody else wants to know, is can we count on that May 1st date? And I guess that's all I have to say, except I really thank and appreciate all the people in the different departments who have worked really hard. I know a little bit about the city, and I know it's complicated to get things done, and I know they're working hard.
Thank you so much.
Fred Allen. I'm president of the Grand Vision Foundation. That's the first time I've said that.
Congratulations.
I got elected 3 days ago. Of course, we are here to support the idea of the RFP, and I'm really happy to hear that we are moving forward on that, and that we will, at some point in the not-too-distant future, actually be able to look at the document and figure out how we move forward from there. I also, at this time, would like to extend a invitation to you, Tom, to come to our Gathering of the Grand, which is our big fundraising event that we do every year in significant residences in the South Bay area. And if I can, I would like to deliver one of these to your desk.
Super. You can get right there. It's a shorter walk. And I'm going to make a copy of this. By committee action, it is the intent of the CAO's office to issue an RFP on or near May 1st, 2011. So this is what we're going to make a copy of and distribute it so you could have that. Is that all right, Madam CAO? On or near May 1st. So I got to hold myself to it, too, because we have been dancing. Make copies for everybody, Lisa. Okay.
Just one last thing. We want to be very respectful of the process.
Right.
But we also have a lot of information to share about the theater. We would like to know if there's a proper procedure where we could actually speak to the leaders of the Cultural Affairs Department in a public meeting such as this, but perhaps a little bit more directly about the buildings. Basically, we want to be in a public setting, but we like to be able to talk directly about the condition of the Warner Grand and our concerns and so forth.
Well, I believe the CAO's representative said they're going to tour the facilities, and they'll tour with you at some time. So as we move forward, we'll make sure that they come down.
Thank you, and we'd like to be included in that.
Thank you very much.
We really need to be a part of that process.
Thank you. I think everybody has to be a part of the process, so we'll be guided by the city attorney, meaning if you're bidding on something, I think anybody who's bidding may walk through. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no other questions on this item? Okay, no other questions on this item. Okay, so we're going to recommend send that forward to council, and then for them to report back on or near May 1st as far as the RFP. Item number 1 is, okay, good. Item number 1.
This is for the appointment of Ms. Jan Whetstone to the Commission on the Status of Women for the term ending June 30, 2012, to fill the vacancy created by Rosa Cordova. And this item will be in council today as well.
Super. Well, welcome, and I'm sorry about the traffic, but that happens to us all. Thank you for your taking this opportunity to serve the city. Tell us a little about yourself.
My name is Jan Whetstone. I am a resident of the 8th District City Council. I'm also a journeyman electrician with IBW Local 11, so I am a woman in a non-traditional career by trade. I've done a lot of community work, volunteering, gone into our local high schools to talk to youth and minorities regarding self-sufficiency through union apprenticeship programs. I've, for the last 10 years, also been on policy committee and planning committees for the Women Building California conference that's either been in Sacramento or here in Los Angeles. See, what else would you like to know?
I just want to know your passion. You said it, and I think so important. What high school did you go to?
I went to Venice High School, but I actually received my diploma from Maxine Waters Employment Preparation Center.
Great. When you went to Venice High School, did you take an industrial arts classes, or were they not encouraging?
No, I did not. I had no clue. I actually found out about construction, or that I like construction, through Youth Build program, which is an apprenticeship preparation program, youth transformation. And I was first introduced to construction around 22 years old through the Youth Build program.
This is great. You'll be a great addition to the commission. We thank you. We'll see you in council, and we'll recommend approval, Madam Clerk. Thank you so much. Okay, item number 4.
Motion by you, Mr. Labange Rosendo, relative to the Department of Recreation and Parks to work in collaboration with the Department of Water and Power to report on the feasibility of a pilot program to install solar panels at recreation and park facilities. And this item has also been referred to Energy and Environment.
Is anyone here for the Parks Department to speak to this issue?
Good morning again, Mike Shaw with Recreation and Parks. We'd be very excited to put solar panels throughout. I mean, we've started a program, as you're aware, Council Member. We've had kind of discussions on and off with the Department of Water and Power. We're very supportive of coming up with a program with them that would bring funding and an opportunity for solar panels. We'd like to be the national leader. So, I mean, I don't think that I think the issue is, you know, the economics of it, and I think probably Water and Power is probably better versed to talk about that than I, but certainly we are very much in favor.
Well, this is very good. Have you ever seen a bill from the Department of Water and Power for electrical power use by park services?
Routinely.
And so what we want to try to do is create a source of income for the park system. Income meaning you wouldn't get that bill as high as it may be on your use. Still lower than Edison and other Southern California utilities, but still try to make it an opportunity to keep it at home. And the flat roofs, do you see much structural problems with your roofs? Or,
There could be. There could be. You know, certainly, I mean, we have hundreds of building facilities. We have, you know, about 170 recreation centers, which are 10,000 square foot buildings, give or take.
Right.
You know, some of the older ones could be a challenge. You know, I think you just have to look at it on a case-by-case basis, but, you know, starting a program like that would be is certainly beneficial to us. I mean, we are, just so for the record, our electricity and water bill totals nearly, you know, anywhere from $18 to $20 million a year. So, and it's split about half and half. So, yeah, if we can save any energy and reduce our bill, absolutely.
Absolutely would be good. And also people would learn about solar going to public facilities. I would love to see a small solar panel in an acceptable spot on or near somewhere in the observatory, whether in the building, or to teach people about solar and what its uses are. I know you have some solar, small solar, as big as a that surface right there at some of the water tanks that trip the services and at Captain's Roost, the solar panels going in. That being said, this is something that we could possibly really put it in our preamble. It was a commitment of the next 5 years to try to create this type of green opportunity for our park system.
Absolutely.
Because you're very green on all recycling. All your green waste is recycled.
Nearly, over 90% of it's recycled, yeah.
Thank you. This is going to go to committee for energy, but we'll send it on from this committee with support.
So basically, for the record, you're approving the recommendation contained in the motion.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for the record. It's good to be on the record. Thank you. Item number 5.
In item 5, there is a motion by you as well and Ms. Han relative to the Departments of Recreation and Parks and Cultural Affairs and the Library to work with the Department of Water and Power regarding the feasibility of creating a solar power program to install solar panels at recreation and park facilities, art centers, and library facilities to reduce the overhead cost of electrical power. And this item is also referred to Energy and Environment.
Thank you. Same.
Ditto.
Right. Olga?
Hi, I think it's a great idea, and we're very eager to work on this. As a matter of fact, last year, we provided a $10,000 contract to an organization called the Arts Earth Partnership for them to assess 21 of our art centers and theaters and to do an audit on environmental practices at the facilities that we manage as well as the facilities that we partner out. And they've come up with this study that shows how our art centers and theaters can improve their environmental practices on a number of different things, like, paper products that they purchase should be recyclable, that kind of thing. So we started the journey on trying to become better green, a more green department. Some of the recommendations that have been issued really are things that the city as a whole would have to implement, like how do you purchase products and that kind of thing. But it's very much in keeping this motion that you made.
Very good.
We're trying to do.
Thank you. Hi.
I'm Eloisa Serra, Library Department.
Thank you.
I just want to inform you that the library has currently an MOU with LADWP, which is good for 10 years. We have 6 libraries that had a solar panel system already, and these are mostly for the new facilities.
Very good. Library is a great place. Thank you. Okay, so this collectively, we'd like to see the art centers, the parks, recreation facilities, libraries really focus on this. 10 years ago, I was at Water and Power, and they were talking about green power. And had we talked about just this, it would make a giant difference in the grid. And then people see your facilities, and they may get an idea to do something at home to help in this important transformation of how we get the blend of power. So I want to thank the library departments, the Park and Recreation and Parks Department, and Cultural Affairs. So we'll work together on this. I think it's a goal for us, the 2 at 11, to try to enhance that. And also we should work with Sierra Club, as I see Joe Young here, because sometimes the Sierra Club, as green as they are concerned about wind turbines in the right spot, and they're concerned about solar panels in the right spot. So make sure it is in the right spot, whatever that may be. You have anything to say, Joe? Yes. For the record, come down here. Okay, we're going to recommend approval on this.
Good morning, Councilman Labange. My name is Joe Young, 12551 Presnell Street in Los Angeles, 90066. Yes, I think this is a good idea. I also think, don't miss the bet here. There's energy is energy. There's also a lot of energy to be saved in heating of water at facilities. These are solar panels that will heat water that circulates in the facility. That's another component that sometimes is overlooked when you think about solar panels. The sun heats water as well as the sun creates motion of electrons. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank all of you. Together we could do big differences. This is the goal, it's going to energy and environment, and then we'll turn it over to water and power, try to make it one of their real big projects. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Hey, Mike. Item number
6. The city administrative officer has submitted a report relative to the proposed donation agreement between the city of Los Angeles and the Parks Foundation for the refurbishment of the Griffith Park Commonwealth Nursery Center.
Good morning, Councilmember Delilah Pucha, CAO. The proposed donation agreement is between the Department of Recreation and Parks and the Los Angeles Parks Foundation relative to the refurbishment of the existing Griffith Park Commonwealth Nursery in Council District 4. In March 2010, the State of California released a proposal for Prop 84 Nature Education Facilities Grant Program. The department and the Los Angeles Parks Foundation have identified eligible and competitive projects to receive Prop 84 grant funds and submitted a grant application for $7 million to refurbish the nursery and develop the new Griffith Park Horticultural Learning Center. The Horticultural Learning Center will provide on-site educational opportunities for the general public and city staff. Los Angeles Parks Foundation has committed to fund the construction of the Horticultural Learning Center improvements, subject to the receipt of grant funds at no cost to the city. The department shall be the owner and the long-term steward of the HLC after completion of all improvements. Funding for the operation and maintenance is yet to be determined and is subject to future appropriation by mayor and council through the regular budget process. This office recommends that the council approve and authorize the president of the secretary of the Board of Recreation and Park Commissioners to execute the proposed donation agreement between the department and LA Parks Foundation relative to the refurbishment of the nursery. There's city staff available to answer any additional questions you may have.
Mr. Scholl.
Yeah, this is mostly in relation to, well, there was some funding that the Parks Foundation received from a donor to do some initial studies of the nursery or what it could be. And as a result of that, there was an application that went in for Proposition 84 funds, which is still outstanding. The city hasn't heard back on that particular grant yet. And I believe the application was for $7 million for that. But there is no, right now, there currently isn't anything moving forward because we don't know if we have the grant or not. But this was needed in order.
When did the grants get announced?
We should know, I'm thinking we should know sometime in March is my understanding, or earlier.
Uh-huh.
So,
I would
but it's
feel
almost
comfortable,
anything.
I would be much more comfortable if we could hold this for 30 days at another meeting, and then we could organize a community meeting, because there's a lot of interest in, so to explain what we're doing, what the Parks Department is doing. We had a open house some months ago, and got participation, but not everybody, especially in the neighborhood, felt that they were invited, which we felt that every door was handed an invitation, invited to come. So if there's no urgency to this.
The file does say that there's a time limit. If the CAO could.
I believe council has 60 days to respond, council has 60 days from the date of receipt to act, otherwise the contract will be deemed approved pursuant to Ad Code 10.5.
And Councilman, if I may,
what was the trail on this that got us to this point? Because it doesn't leave us time to organize and inform the community, because this is a great step if it's done properly.
But absolutely, right. And this was the reason why this is going. The reason why this went forward in this way, because I think it was as a result of the Proposition 84 grant. In order for the state, the Rec and Parks decided to partner with a lot of organizations under Proposition 84, in which it was the first time, at least since I've been there, that the state actually allowed you to do that and allow the funds to flow through other organizations outside of your own, and to do projects. But as a result of that, the state required certain legal documents to be done to ensure that we were supportive of the project. That being said, that's really just a very preliminary step. The community, will be an extensive community process on this. It's just This was mainly just to
Just
apply
add
for
an
the...
amendment, that the amendment also added, Madam CAO, when she's clear, if I could add an amendment, that there will be required extensive community process, that there will also include an extensive neighborhood process, because this is a facility at the edge of the park, that it must coincide with what is the vision plan still pending for the park system, and that in the months ahead, whether the grant is accepted or not, the intentions of the park department should be fully vetted and discussed with neighborhood councils, neighborhood associations, and other park interested groups to the benefit of enhancing what is a historic nursery for educational and all things green.
Absolutely.
Okay, did anybody write all that down? You could hear it on the tape? I want that word for word on the tape, okay?
That's good.
So that we include everybody. Did you write it down, Joe? Did you write it all down? Oh. It's that an amendment be placed on this, that a full community process be put in a full community outreach process be initiated by the Department of Recreation and Parks, and that would include outreach to the immediate neighborhood, outreach to the neighborhood council and neighborhood associations, and outreach to the general public who have come from near and far, who have love of Griffith Park, and that the desired outcome does coincide with what is the pending vision plan for Griffith Park.
And could I just add, caveat that just by, should we receive
the grant?
Otherwise, there is no project without
Right,
this grant.
if we don't get the grant.
Right.
But in addition to that, you could add this specifically too, that I again, as council member, will have a community neighborhood meeting and tour of the historic, wonderful nursery. So if this grant does not come in, we could see at other opportunities that may exist for it. It's a tremendous place. Now, was that too fast, Joe? Thank you very much. All right.
And actually, people can listen to Granicus after the meeting.
Say it again?
For the word for word. People can listen to Granicus.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Ms. Adams, you want to add anything?
Yes, Councilmember, I just want to make sure that this item is still moving forward in the council process.
Just for the
Right.
record, because we don't have a quorum, that is a recommendation.
It will be
that this
communication.
amended.
Recommendations, all amended in council in writing, so you don't have to write it down word for word. Lisa does. Okay. Good. When is this scheduled for council?
Before the time limit.
All right, good. Super. And also, so this is item, so we got this down, item number 6. Okay? And also, Sid, could I give you something here, a piece of paper? This is that's the boundaries of Exposition Park. Will you show me a colored map of state property, city property, county property? Yeah, just whatever it is. Just make it simple. Just want to, no, later. Okay, so this completes this item as a recommendation to council.
Yes.
Okay.
Got it.
Now, that completes item number 6. Item number 7, we did?
You already did.
Say it again?
You already did 7.
7, good. Item number 8.
So this item was heard earlier, and you're going to continue discussion. And this is on the city attorney report and the ordinance relative to amending the Los Angeles Municipal Code to prohibit conducting any trade, occupation, business, or profession within a city park without a concession contract or a permit issued by the city.
We're going to call for public comment, and I'm going to ask if you need more than a minute, take it, but we're going to have a 1-minute clock because we're running up against council. Okay. Item number 8. Keith, and Keith, help me with your last name. Kufant. Heather Michelson, Leanne Hastley, and Phyllis Doherty. If you want to state anything again, you can. If not, it's okay. And Christopher is here with his son. If you want to state anything again, you can. Hi.
Hi, I'm a dog walker, and I use the dog parks to take dogs to public parks. I'd just like to say that I think there's a distinction between vendors who come in and use the park for purposes for which it wasn't intended, like non-recreational uses.
Merchandise.
Yes, exactly. But as far as there are services that are they depend upon the dog park, like people who do personal training, private coaching, nannies who take kids to the park,
Right.
dog walkers, all those sorts of things. I don't think to do like a blanket ban on any type of service or business would be beneficial to either, the people who use those services, that depend on those services. You couldn't even have a lemonade stand if they enforce the law as it's suggested.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Heather Mickelson. I also own a small dog walking business, and I kind of piggyback on what Keith said in regards to all the different personal and private coaches. What about different golf pros at the golf courses, Westchester? I see when I go attempts to hit balls at the driving range. There's guys out there that are stepping up and seeing if people want help. What about them, as far as permitting? And it's also my understanding that there is already in existence at each individual Los Angeles city park a permitting process for dog obedience classes that is already in existence, that someone could apply for and deal with. So I don't understand if that's already in existence, and if that is the legitimate reason that this item number 8 has come up. Well, there's already a way to resolve that instead of going into this big rigmarole.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Leanne Hasty, and I'm a member of the National Association of Professional Pet Sitters, and I've been in business for about 14 years. And I just want to say how this would impact everyone, dog owners, the dogs. It would impact the shelters because dogs would not be socialized as well. We take the dogs and they're socialized at the park, and they learn to get along with other dogs. And so it's going to impact the shelters, which are also overflowing. It's going to impact the voters, the dog walkers, as well as all our clients who will not be able to get their dogs taken out on a regular basis. And it'll unemploy a lot of people.
Can I ask you a question? You live at 9038, so what park do you use?
I use Barrington.
Barrington Park. Okay, good.
Yeah, even though I live in your district.
Got it. That's all right. Good. Thank you very much. Okay. Phyllis? And Christopher, you want to say?
I want to speak on number 9. Are you
All right,
still going, you're going to take
We'll get
additional?
your card on 9. All right, so on number 8, if the department could come forward here. Would the department like to report on anything?
Once again, Councilman Kevin Regan, Assistant General Manager with the Department of Recreation and Parks. So with item number 8, we're discussing the reenactment, the redrafting, and the ability for the department to use Municipal Code Ordinance 6344B, subsection 3. And what that's an ordinance that's been on the books for many, many years. It was suspended in 2005 by the council because of constitutional issues surrounding public expression and free expression, primarily at Venice Beach. This is a municipal ordinance that states that individuals conducting private businesses, for-profit trades, or other types of businesses, whether it's services, selling products, it doesn't matter. Those individuals need to secure a permit. There are permitting processes in place. They've been in place for many, many years. What this redrafting of the ordinance does is once again gives the city the ability to enforce the provisions of this ordinance, which this is not only I know that we've been kind of mixing 8 and 9.
No, we're back to
right,
numbers.
Back to 8, and I understand that. What I'm trying to say is that this is not intended to only deal with dog walking, because I know we've heard about the dog walking, but this is to deal with every type of business being conducted on park land. So one of the individual speakers did mention individuals that may come to a golf course and try to offer lessons for sale at a public driving range. Yes, that would be included under this provision. And any other type of person wanting to conduct a business or sell a product. In some cases, those things are allowed under permit. In some cases, they're not.
And let me just ask a question, because I'm trying to look at a park. If I see someone come up and try to sell something, merchandise,
right,
I see that one thing, okay? If I see someone walking dogs, I see somebody walking dogs, I see that as another thing. I don't look into their pocketbook or to their, I see they're in a park, which I think is a positive thing, especially if they pick up after somebody who may,
right,
whatever that is. Now, Kevin, so how do you decipher that? You're a park administrator. What do other cities do around? You're national organizations. You represent the department around the country on these national boards. What are other parks doing?
It's very common across the nation for public park land to have ordinances in place within cities for that land to remain open and free to the public. For public activities, individuals that are conducting businesses on those public lands under most cities across the nation, and in this city prior to the suspension of 6344B, do not have the right to do that without obtaining the proper permits, business licenses, and other activities.
You posted every one of your parks that you're considering this type of, especially when you look at the boot camps or the yoga? Have you posted and said?
No, Councilman, we haven't, but
Okay.
this is, that is not something that normally would be done. And I wanted to.
Well, I would do that if I'm sitting in your chair and I'm going to change an ordinance. I'd want to let the people know there's a reason. You have some good logic, but it isn't logical as to the reality of what has happened.
We're going through the public process right now. This ordinance has been on the books for many, many years. This is not something new. This is a city attorney redrafting an existing ordinance to make provisions for inextricably intertwined messages to still be applicable at places like Venice Beach and other places, but where private businesses are being conducted for profit, those individuals need to secure BTRC numbers so they pay city business tax. They need to have permits with the Department of Recreation and Parks, and that is commission policy and it's city policy.
I understand that, but you mentioned Venice Beach. And is Mr. Rosendal's deputy here? I saw him earlier. Yeah, how's the councilman doing? Okay? Good. Let me ask you a question, because I wanted this committee to go out to Venice, because it's been somewhat of a difficult period, because a lot of this, give me your thoughts as a deputy. And for the record, introduce yourself.
All right, I'm Nate Kaplan, Councilman Bill Rosendal's office. My personal view, I'm a resident of Venice myself, so I frequent the area. Venice is a very unique location, and some of the rules that might apply to other areas in the park or other parts of the city might not always apply to Venice Beach. So it seems the lottery system, I believe, is currently suspended now because of a court injunction, which some people thought worked, some people thought didn't. It's a very contentious issue, and I wish there was a simple answer to say what works and what doesn't. It all depends on who you ask. I can't speak on behalf of the councilman on this issue right now. I wasn't prepared for that, so that's all I could say this time.
Right. On this issue here, I want to continue this issue because I want to get everybody have an opportunity, and I think the public comment did make some points that I think need to be vetted out as far as the policy on this issue here. And also ask the city attorney to maybe give a report in the future on this issue specifically, and as it relates to Venice Beach, and as it relates to a variety of issues. Because when you mention Venice, and I feel our committee hasn't been able to take that, we're looking for direction from the 11th District. Madam City Attorney.
Chairman LaBonge, our office certainly will adhere to your request to provide a report at a future committee meeting. I would just like to state that the department is working with the city attorney's office and others to try to come up with this ordinance, and there will be a public process. So all the concerns that you're raising will be addressed, but not at a future date.
I got it, but here's the thing. I look at you, Kevin, and I knew your father, okay, and I knew how he worked so hard for this city. And I know the public process is so important, and I look at all the farmers who you look there, and all of a sudden they get word that they got to pay for their plots in their gardens. And I look for all this is something that does, if explained, maybe there's a potential to say, you could do this if you get a simple fee. Maybe not. I don't know. But I think there has to be some discussion. I heard the loud cry and visited gardens where people who've been toiling with the soil, and we haven't been out there before. We haven't been out there for a while. In fact, we haven't really established ourselves. We have to have a better public notification process on this, because I think it just, not to use a term, it comes back to bite you. Unless you have a full process. And I would feel more comfortable, especially with more colleagues here, to be able to recommend to the council, because I go forward.
Why don't you continue this item to another date?
So we're going to continue at 30 days, but we have everybody who did come from this here that we're going to ask you for comment in the future. And if there's an organization, please let us know so we could reach out and also see if there's something that could be done. If you have any ideas, these people are the stewards of the public land. They're heroes. At the same time, their world is being tumbled, as all of ours, to try to provide stewardship. So they're looking at people, and probably no one in here has ever abused the park, but some people come on and do something. So how do you protect the parks? What's the process? What's the Sierra Club? How do they weigh in on it? What is the public, the park advisory committees? How do they weigh in on it? I know some park advisory very upset with the merchandise at Pan Pacific Park that comes in off of Beverly Boulevard. Very upset that they see that, and then the challenges that it is. But it is that, as Keith mentioned, it's different than someone who's walking. So I think we're going to continue this, and I thank you all for participation. Did you have a report that you wanted to give, or you're okay? Number 9. You're number 9. Number 9. Number 9. Anybody know that? Number 9. There's a couple old folks in here. Good job. All right. Continue number 8. Number 8 is continue, but we need your input to find a solution to this, because I think the stewards have very important comments on that. So this is number 8. Thank you. Now we're going to go public comment number 9.
On item 9, the Department of Recreation and Parks has submitted a report in response to motion Rosenthal Corretz relative to the enforcement of off-leash dog park rules and regulations.
Okay, Chris Penneth. Chris. Jason Lee, Melinda Omar, and Mary Jones. If you could comment in 1 minute.
Hi, my name is Melinda Ortner. I have a small dog walking business, and I walk dogs at the Barrington Dog Park in Brentwood. The city of Los Angeles is a wonderful and unique city comprised of hardworking citizens who face long work hours and even longer commutes in order to afford their rent and mortgages. The need for professional dog walkers grew out of necessity. These dedicated citizens are also loving, caring, and responsible pet owners whose priority it is to find highly qualified, professional, conscientious, and educated dog walkers who can provide their pets with exercise, socialization, training, and love. Left alone, dogs will damage their homes, bark incessantly, and become more aggressive because of lack of socialization and direction. Many of the dogs will be abandoned or turned into the Humane Society. Without dog walkers, there will be no more dogs in shelters, increasing the taxpayers' burden and ultimately resulting in increased euthanasia. From September 2009 to August 31st, 2010, LA Animal Services brought 32,819 dogs into shelters. 14,167 of these dogs were adopted, but 7,979 were euthanized at Los Angeles taxpayers' expense. It benefits no one to see those numbers rise.
Thank you so much, Linda.
Thank you. Dear Council, my name is Jason Lee. I have a small pet sitting services since 1998. I'm doing the business, take the dog, go to the dog park, almost Monday to Friday every day. And right now, they try to pass the law, they limit 6 dogs per person, and we have to carry $1 million liability insurance. They're going to take traumatic financial hardship on us. And we are small business owner. I'm the one-man show running my own business. I'm the owner, I'm the employee, I'm the secretary. I do everything by myself. I'm the typical small business owner. So, like, when I discussed these things with my wife last night, my son asked me a question. Is that means I cannot go to the eco camp this summer? He loved go to the eco camp. I can't answer the question. Today, I want council really consider us. We're a small business owner. We're making a living. Like today, I'm here. That means I have to cancel my work. I'm not getting paid. I just want my voice be heard.
Thank you very much. Chris?
Chris Penka. Yeah, I've been a trainer for about 15 years, and I guess people have been saying you can only handle 3 dogs or 6 dogs, whatever it is at a time. I provide service. We all talk to each other at the park on ideas of how to train and this kind of thing. I can have anywhere up to 20 dogs, have them on a sit stay at one time, release them all at one time. They learn from each other. When you bring dogs to the park, when they are taught to see how to behave by other dogs, they learn from each other, and therefore the behaviors get better as they are socialized more. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, I've been there for years, and I haven't seen hardly any issues. And if they are, they've been corrected. But otherwise, everybody gets along there. Like I said, I give advice to people that have issues with dogs. And it's kind of, if we're not there doing that, we get a lot of shelter dogs that I'm brought to train. Otherwise, they're getting thrown back in the shelter because they haven't been socialized. This way, they're out and about, they get socialized. And, it makes better, like she said, at people's houses. They're not chewing stuff up at home and that kind of stuff.
Thank you very much. Mary?
Yeah, I'm Mary Jones. I'm here not as a dog walker, just in support of the dog walkers. They provide a much-needed service to working people, disabled people, and people who just don't have time to give their pets the exercise they need. All of these dog walkers know what they are doing. At first glance, you wouldn't think they could handle as many dogs as they do, but to see them at work is really amazing. These are honest, hard-working taxpayers who are, in these difficult times, just trying to make a living, and the dog parks are more peaceful and clean when they are there. In fact, at Westminster, they've collected money to install canopies for weather protection. They are a great asset to the dog park. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Leslie Campbell, Nancy Gakos, Michael Wickman, is that correct? Okay. Angela Tinkerbank. And this meeting is going to be adjourned at 10 o'clock because I have to get to council. So, and this issue, Mr. Scholl is still here. What I'd like to do, he's the #1 steward of underneath the direction of the #1 woman, Regina Adams. I want to get that straight there. But the land use ban representative, I want to go out to some of these parks with you, with some of these people. I want to hear some of your concerns as we go. This will be continued. Thank you.
My name is Leslie Campbell. I own We Let the Dogs Out. And just when I thought it was safe to go back to work, this has come up again. On October 2nd, 2009, it was unanimously agreed by City Council that this was a bad ordinance, and I appeal to you that it still is. We are hardworking, tax-paying, licensed, and voting citizens of L.A., and so are our clients. What a sad place L.A. would be without our presence. There has been no evidence whatsoever provided in the Rexon Park report, which stated that in the last 8 years, there have been only 15 reported incidents of dog trouble. 9 of those were strays, and of the 6 remaining, it was not clear whether it was dog walkers or individual owners. So we ask, why create a problem when one does not exist? While we are open to fair regulation, it is our perspective that it is extreme limits are placed on LA dog walkers, then you, our city councilors, will be severely impacting hundreds of honorable tax-paying businesses while displacing countless thousands of dog owners and their licensed canines. And I repeat, licensed. We're actually paying for the privilege. All this does is make dog walking criminal. Thank you very much for your time.
It's not criminal. Yes.
Hi, good morning. Mr. LaBonge, I live out in your district out there in Rancho, and I frequent the dog park out at Griffith Park and utilize the one in Barrington. And
For the record, state your name.
Nancy Gankos,
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry. And, you know, the visualization of mishaps at these dog parks with fights or anything like that is just, it doesn't happen on a regular basis. We care about the parks, we care about the other individuals there, and mostly we really care about the animals. That's why we're in business, some of us for decades. There's never been a problem before. If there's an isolated incident, it's handled. And as you all know, that there are rules already in place for dogs having to be neutered or certain circumstances of bringing aggressive dogs in, none of which people do intentionally for any sort of hardship for the dogs or the people. We comprised a huge binder the last time this was brought to council of facts and statistics. We did our own count of dogs during peak hours and off-peak hours. It's very thorough and shows many dogs getting along and being cared for in a very responsible way.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gatos.
Hi, Michael Luckerman. I'm a dog walker for the last 12 years. I'd like to talk about the RAP report for a second, if I can. Well, for a minute, if I can. The RAP report suggests that professional dog walkers be required to pay special fees and obtain special permits to use the park. And it's our position that that issue violates our United States and California constitutional right to equal protection under the law. We're already required to acquire business licenses and pay taxes to operate our businesses. And, we believe we're guaranteed equal protection as business owners and tax-paying citizens to have equal opportunity to use the public resources and make a living without unfair and unwarranted encumbrances. And we also think that this is going to raise some interesting questions, such as, will every commercial dog walker in L.A., even those who don't use the off-leash parks, be required to obtain a permit? Will professional walkers with less than 3 dogs need a permit? Will non-professional dog walkers, just people who go to the park who bring in more than 3 dogs, be required to get permits? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Angela.
Hello, my name is Angela Tricklebank. I'm just here to support all of the dog walkers around LA. I personally live in Venice and take my own dog to the park. I found the presence of the dog walkers there nothing than helpful, supportive areas. They've always been people that can advise. I've never seen any troubles with their actual packs of dogs. They certainly are able to handle many more than a few dogs at a time. And I personally feel safer having my own dog there with the walkers, simply because I know that they are well versed in the socialization of the dogs, in how to basically handle and control. And I personally feel that their presence is actually very valuable to the dog parks themselves. And I'm much more at home taking my, using the parks, but with the dog walkers there, than I am with other people that simply, I don't know whether or not they're able to control their animals.
Thank you very much. Members, you're dismissed from the table. Members, I have to get to council because we meet at 10. Okay, and we will continue this. I want to have some reach out, Michael Scholl. I want to have some reach out here. I want to read for the record there, Madam Clerk, that Colleen Steckloff, is that correct? Keith Kaploff, is that correct? Kufeld, sorry, call me Labangi. So, Christopher Franciosa. Any relationship to the, oh, good to see you. All right, nice to see you. And Phyllis Doherty, thank you very much, and Heather Mickelson for the record. So this has been important to see all of you, because I don't believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, this came through our committee last time. I think it came through another committee. on that issue here, because I would have remembered all of your faces. It came through Public Safety Committee the last time. It belongs in this committee because we have to find a balance. And I know when you mentioned the Griffith Park, dog park issue, that took an unloved part of the park into an area where people could gather and engage. So there's a lot of positive here. So, Madam Clerk, so we're going to continue this item, 30 days. In the meantime, I'm going to be in touch. We have phone numbers to, if there's leadership to Lisa, raise your hand. So we'll contact one to contact everybody, visit some sites, get the deputies from the other offices involved as well. So I thank you all on this day, the 22nd of February. This meeting's adjourned. Thank you.